Hello everyone, this is RexRed and this is EZ3DTV. Today I'm going to do some testing for you. We're going to test a thing called SLI. We are going to test a thing called the NVLink. And we are going to test two 3090 graphics cards. And we are going to test some CPU rendering, and we're going to find out which one wins. Okay, so yes, thank you for coming in, and so I will give a little bit of time so that we can see who might come into this chat. Into the chat today. And so, all right, I think we'll just start. So what we're doing here, when I go into the render settings in Daz Studio, you will see in the advanced tab that we have two 3090s and we have a CPU and that we can render from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Notepad and we're going to go CPU render time, and then with one GPU render time, and then we're going to go to okay, and this is going to be with NVLink. Okay, and then we're going to do this again. 2 GPS copy with no NVLink. No NVLink. And we're going to see which one wins. And one of them, okay, NVLink, and then we're going to go to 2 render time, 2x render time. We're going to call this memory pool. Okay, so we have these particular things. We're going to put CPU render. Maybe we'll put it last. Okay, CPU render. Yeah, we'll put CPU render, no NVLink. Now this is kind of complicated. Now we have, because I want to test all possible thing. So we're going to go with 2 render. Okay, we're going to go 2x GPU render, and I guess we can take this render time right out and just put this at the top. It's like redundant, like it's like, hello, they all are render times. Okay. And so what we're going to do in this render time, and that PU can be, okay, and these are going to be render times. Okay. Welcome to this awesome EZ3DTV tutorial today. Today we're going to be doing some testing. Okay? Oh, whoever that was, they left. They went away. Bye-bye. Or maybe they're here. Sometimes I just can't tell if they are here or not. Okay, so these are going to be render times. So what I'm going to do is I have a test scene, okay? This is our test scene, and what I'm going to do is save the test scene, so the scene is saved. So we have basically the same identical settings here. When we go into the render settings, we have this for 1000 by 562 resolution, 16 by 9. All of these will stay the same for all of these. The image path, we will call these render. We'll make the image path new on the desktop, and this will be render. We'll just call it render times. Okay. We are using the beta. That might be a mistake, but I'm using the beta because I figure it gives Daz a chance to put maybe the most up-to-date advantages to there. Oh, thank you for the like. Thank you, Kat. Welcome. Yes, we are going to do some testing, and I'm going to try to make sure. Daz is an awesome test bed to like just pick a scene and then switch out the cards, switch this, switch the SLI off, switch it on, put it into pooling, put it into non-SLI, and run in the other room, turn off my computer for a moment, take the bridge off, and we're gonna do some testing here. So so that this is going to be interesting. So I guess the first I'm going to save PC rendering for last, the CPU rendering, because that could take a while. So I may close this out with that, and before we render with the CPU, because we know the CPU is going to take a while, we will we'll have some final thoughts. So right now in the render settings, we have this. We have two CPUs. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just turn one of them off, and we're going to try our render here, rendering, and let me see. Now this is one GPU equals. Okay, this is going to be equals. They're all going to have equal signs after them. Oops, equals, and I have to. I know there's a way to look and get the official numbers, but I'm just going to put a basic guesstimation here on. I'm going to watch the render and try to catch the time that it finishes. So, because it'll disappear, but I'll just watch it, and if it's off by a couple seconds, I don't think that's going to matter. We're looking at things like doubling the time and stuff like that, and 1/3 the time, or so. At this point, and I'm going to keep the rendering down. We're not going to render this scene completely, render everything out, but we are going to render it with. We are going to render it with. Where was that? With the render time is on, I believe, yeah, 4,000. We're going to let it render up to this will be pretty fast, but 4,000 iterations. I know that's a lot, but my computer will breeze right through them. Okay, so this is going to be our first test is one GPU. How long does it take to render this particular scene with one GPU? And let's go. Here we go. Now you see how fast that's going, so it won't take that long to go to 4,000. I expect this might take about 2 minutes. See, we're already up to 300, 400 in 26 seconds, so this should go pretty fast. Now, it's kind of a little bit tricky because this isn't just one GPU in the machine. It's one GPU in SLI, which with the other GPU turned off. And what would be interesting here would be to Control Shift and just check to make sure that just one GPU is running. We're up to 1,000. Okay. And it appears that, yes, one of these GPUs is at 86, and the other one is this GPU is pretty much peaking out at 100%, and the other GPU, I don't know why it's jumping like that, is at like 2%. So 1 and 2%. So this is a correct test. We're at 2,000 now. We just have another 2,000. So it's been, I'd said about 2 minutes, and that we should get to about 2 minutes. And we'll save each image and put the name on, say like this is one GPU render. So we can also compare the quality, because quality is going to have something to do with it. How good of a quality with 400 iterations is this going to take? 500 seconds should be enough. I should probably put the seconds up so it can finish. They can all, but if this, I don't think the CPU will get to 4,000. Okay, here we go. We're about ready to hit this. So we're at 2 minutes and 27, 2 minutes and 30, 2 minutes and 32 seconds, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay, 2 minutes and 34. Okay, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay. Now we're going to call this image. Here we're going to save this on the desktop in my folder there. And this is going to be what test? What is this called? What did I call it? Render times. And okay, that's the directory we're saving it in. And can I put an equal sign in there? And this PNG is fine. See, I didn't let it render completely out. So, but that's one GPU is 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to go in and turn on 2 GPUs. And you see we don't have the fallback, so there's no way of falling back. All right, let's do this. 2 GPUs. And we're going up to 4,000 iterations. Whoa, what happened to our image? Come on. You could show this. Okay, we're up to 500. 21 seconds. All right, we've hit 1,000. in about 30 seconds. 1200, 1400, 15. Let's take a look at our thing and make sure that both of these are running. They'd be running at about 100%. Yeah. And so we're 2000 now. And so they're both running anywhere between 70, 50, and then 100. They have some jumps. I'm not sure what's making it jump, but I don't think I have that much on. I do have a web page open. Okay, 3000. So we're at 1 minute and 8 seconds, 1 minute and 10 seconds, 1 minute and 13, 1 minute and 16, 18, 1 minute and 20 seconds, 1 minute and 23 seconds. 1 minute and 23 seconds. All right, this one, I don't think I can have these in here. So this is GPU NVLink. 1 minute and 23 seconds. So we go now here. Save into render times this image. All right. Now we are going to... Now what I'm going to do is go in. Now I think the next one says... Okay, 2 GPUs. So why do I have this just 2 GPUs? Okay, so all right, okay, this is going to be SLI off. Okay, so we're going in and we're just going to turn off. Now we've got this saved. We can save this. We got to make sure we have 2 GPUs. Save this scene, close this down because it'll make me close everything down. We're going to save file, save as. We're going to save this in our render folder. And that would be render times. And this is going to be render, we'll just call this render times. Okay, now we can close that. We can close this. Right click on the desktop, show more options. No, this would be yes, show more options. And then we're going to go to the NVIDIA control panel. Okay, where is it's up here hiding. So we will go. I hope my audio is okay. My last video, I had some problems with it. So we're going to go down here to HDMI 1. And of course, it's hiding up here. So as you can see, SLI is enabled. So we're going to disable SLI, and it's going to tell me to turn off all kinds of stuff. So we have to close OneDrive. So we will close this. Quit OneDrive. There's one. And it wants me to close Splice. So quit Splice. And it wants me to close the Chrome. We will close the Chrome. And then there's one more, Control Alternate Delete. This one is here. It is the Acrobat. It's down here somewhere. Creative Cloud. I think it's down here somewhere. Microsoft. There. End task. Okay, now we can turn off SLI. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll do a single test with SLI off and come back. Please come back. Come on, come back. When it goes dark like this, you have to sometimes hit the enter key because it's asking and it's saying we're making changes. Is this okay? And this monitor's off. How can you know? So you have to just kind of guess that it's asking you these questions and to say, yeah, it's sure. I don't know what you're asking me, but I'm just going to hit enter just to appease you. Okay, it says disable SLI. It's off, okay? So this is off. SLI has left the building. So now we're going to, but we do have the bridge on, okay? So we got to bring this back down here. So open recent. So test scene. No. Okay. Now we can open back up our text file. Desktop. Render times. Render times. Okay. Now this is, we're going to do more than one test. Okay. So we're going to go one GPU. Okay, NVLink bridge on. So the bridge is still on, but SLI off. Okay, then we're going to do 2x GPU. And I don't know if it will do 2x GPU. We're going to find out, okay? So when we go rendering, does it actually link? Okay? That's the question. So we're going to turn GPU 2 off, okay? And now with SLI off, but the bridge on still, we're going to render this. We will render this. Okay, and we're going to pay attention. Tap to, it's rendering. So let's see. Let's go and look real quick and see what if it's rendering really. It looks okay. There's a GPU, something going on. Okay. Now this is interesting. It's not rendering, okay? It's rendering with it's not even registering, like Windows can't tell the GPU is being used. It's like disconnected. This is the strangest thing because it's going fast, okay? So we have to assume something's rendering it, and I have the CPU turned off. So let's assume that this is it is using, and it looks like it's in the memory, And when we go up to the CPU, only 8% of the if the CPU was rendering that, it would be so. It's this GPU, I think 2, that's rendering this. And we're up to 2000. So this is one GPU, GPU 0, which would be 2 here. And we're at 2,500, 1 minute and 49 seconds, okay? 1 minute and 55, okay? So we have another 1,000 to go. 1 minute, 2 minutes. This is one GPU, okay? So Windows with SLI. Now, if I restarted the computer, there's a possibility Windows might be able to detect. But Windows can't tell this is working like crazy, okay? So 2 minutes and 23 seconds, 2 minutes and 25, 2 minutes and 27, 29, 31, 2 minutes and 33 seconds. All right, 2 minutes and 33 seconds equals. Okay. So now we're going to turn this on. And let's close this window down. Alternate tab. My computer is just really kind of acting weird. Okay, so here we go. Now this is NVLink on with SLI off. Control alternate escape. Let's see. That's weird. Okay. Now with now it's what's really weird about this is this is saying 100% now. And this GPU doesn't appear to be doing anything, okay? I think what I need to do is redo this test after a restart, okay? Turning SLI off is pretty serious stuff, okay? So we're at 54 seconds and we're already up to 2,000. Okay, so 2,500, 2,700. So 1 minute and 4 seconds, 1 minute and 6 seconds, 1 minute and 10 seconds, 1 minute and 12 seconds, 15, 1 minute and 17 seconds, 1 minute and 19 seconds, 1 minute and 21, 1 minute and 23 seconds. Equals 1 minute and 23 seconds. Now that's funny. Look, with the NVLink on, okay, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay, so this is really strange that these times are exact with the SLI turned off. Okay, so it didn't change anything. This is exactly the same. Okay, so I don't think I saved that image, but let's save this one anyway. So we're gonna go this copy. All right. That is interesting. So this is going to get saved. We're going to just close down this. No, we don't need to save that. We're going to close this, and we're going to do a restart just to make sure that when we restart that it's that maybe it didn't really require a restart for SLI to officially be turned off. Oh yeah, you're doubling your 3060. Yes, it would. It would make a difference because it would put the scene into both of them. It would double your render time. Okay? But we're going to take a look at this, okay? Let's finish this through, Pat, okay? Cuz I'm going to take the NVLink off, okay? And then we're going to test, okay? So I'm going to go in and take off the NVLink. Okay, I have to go here. And that's going to give you your answer. Is how do these two cards function with the NVLink off? Okay. Let's see what we've got here. So we have now this coming in. All right. So we're going back in here now. As soon as I'm going to let this take just a moment. Okay, we'll go into our render times folder and open this up. I did miss one of them. This will, when I take the NVLink off and we test two cards with them both turned on in Daz and one card and just one card, that will give you your answer because the 3060 doesn't have NVLink. So that will give you that answer because it would be the exact same thing running two 3090s with no NVLink as it would be running 3060s. I'm going to just take a tentative guess and say adding another 3060 would double your render time. It wouldn't give you any more video memory. It wouldn't double your video memory. But it would double your render time. So I'm not certain until we get to that, cross that bridge. I can't really say. So I'm just gonna double check these. I'm not even gonna save these or anything. We're gonna open this up. Now I am using the beta, okay? I just figured I'd give Daz a chance because they put a little bit more work into the beta probably than the public. So we'll just test this one out. This is with both of them turned on, and let's double check and make sure our SLI is off. Show more options. And SLI is indeed off, okay? So now we're back here, and what we're going to do is render this with two graphics cards. Let's hit render. Control-Shift-Escape. Let's see if Windows is a little better at detecting if the graphics cards are actually working. Okay. Now, this is very... Oh, there's nothing here. I didn't load the scene yet. Okay. Let's open recent test. Right. It would have the double. You're very right. You're correct. It would double the speed, okay? It would half the render time. That is accurately the way to say it. Would you like to save changes? No. It would double the render speed and half the render time. Okay, so now we've got our scene back here. You know, I don't know. There is an issue of like whether if you should have. I'm leaving Iray on. I've been told that when you leave Iray on, in Daz, it speeds up the render. I don't know, but it's been that way for all of this test. So we'll leave the render, we'll leave Iray on and click render. And then some people have told me that you turn Iray off and that speeds up the render. I've had somebody come into the chat here and tell me that they did some testing and that turning that Iray, actually having Iray on, does indeed speed up the render. So, and I kind of believe them because they seem very certain, and they said they actually did some tests. So I'm going to go with that. But as long as we have the same conditions and Iray is on when we hit render, we should be fine. So now I'm going to hit render. We'll go Control Shift. We'll go here now to our GPUs. Now remember, the CPUs are turned off. That is really speeding along here. Now you notice one GPU is rendering and the other one is at 0. Okay? But I don't know if I believe this, okay? And all right, so we're at 34 seconds, and I'll explain in a moment as soon, because I don't want to miss the timing here. So we're at 2000, and we're at 51 seconds. Okay, we'll just wait until we get 2000. Okay, 58 seconds, 1 minute. This is with 2 cards. So 1 minute and 4 seconds, 1 minute. We're at 3000, 1 minute and 8 seconds. 1 minute and 13, 1 minute and 15, 1 minute and 17, 1 minute and 19. 1 minute and 23. 1 minute and 23 seconds. And so we have this same thing. So what we're going to do is go this and this. And we're going to call this one after a restart. Okay, it's just because make sure that after turning SLI off, that there might not have been, and we'll do this one test also just to make sure. So that was the exact same time again. So we're going to do this with one graphics card as well, just to check. So I can't really explain what might be happening here because we have SLI off, okay? And it's saying that one graphics card, when we got 2 graphics card render time, while Windows was telling us that only one graphics card was working, okay? Now, isn't that kind of puzzling? Because when I did it with SLI on, okay, it told us that both graphics cards were peaking at 100%. And now what we're seeing is we're getting the same time, but with SLI off, it is telling us that we're still getting the same render time, but Windows is telling us that one card isn't being utilized. And it must be being utilized because we're getting the exact same time that, and I'll explain. I will explain why I think that's why I think that this is so, even though Windows is saying the other card isn't being used. Okay, we're at 1 minute and 39 seconds, and this is just one CPU. SLI is off, but the bridge is on. Okay, so as soon as we get these numbers here, I'm going to just stop. these all look about the same. I'm not going to save these images. I believe they are all, except towards the end, okay? So we have okay, so we're up to there with 3631. Okay, we're at 2 minutes and 22, 24, 2 minutes and 26, 2 minutes and 28, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Okay, 2 minutes and 33 seconds. And here we go. That's our one. Okay, so 2 minutes and 33 seconds. And this is after a restart. Okay, so those are the same numbers that we had with our okay, 1 minute, okay, 2 minutes and 34 seconds was with the NVLink on in SLI. And this is with NVLink and SLI on, okay? And this is with NVLink and SLI on. Okay, and that's so right now using the NVLink or not using it isn't making well, we have the link on, okay, but with SLI turned on and SLI turned off, we are getting the exact same. Well, 1 second, I might have even read it wrong, but 1 second is not, and this is after 4,000 iterations, okay? How often do you go to 4,000 iterations? So that's what we're doing, but yes, it is a small image. So, all right, what I'm going to do now is, okay, there's two ways I could go. I think what I'll do is I will take the NVLink off for now. So I'm going to close my computer. We're going to save this file. Close this, close this, close this. I'm just not going to save those. They all look pretty much the same. And I'm going to close this down. And it's going to, we already have that saved. We're going to close this. I'm going to turn off my computer. I have to go in the other room and take off the NVLink bridge. And then I will be right back. We'll restart the computer. Once the bridge is off, I'll restart the computer. We'll go back into Daz. And this, Pat, is where you're going to get your answer. How will 23060s work? Because NVLink, at least right now, isn't doing anything whatsoever right now. We turned off. NVLink requires that SLI to be turned on. Okay, so technically, by turning the SLI off, we disabled NVLink, because it requires that SLI to be turned on in the NVIDIA. So you might already have your answer, that, but we're going to test this. So I will be right back. I'm going to go, my computer is now off. I can just pull off that NVLink bridge, and I will be right back. I don't know if I have audio. I think I have audio now. All right, so my computer is restarting. We shall see now. Enter. So there is no bridging the two, connecting the two graphics cards together. So, I don't know, there are programs out there that use, and we're not done yet, because we're also I'm going to put that bridge back on, and then we're going to test something called memory pooling, okay? All right, so, but this will give you your answer, Pat, about how this works. Okay, so we're going to go back in. I still have two cards plugged into my computer. Okay, so there are still two 3090s plugged into the PCI Express ports. So we're going to just go into NVIDIA and look and make sure SLI is still turned off. And it's not even offering it because there's no bridge. Okay, so it's definitely turned off because it's not even offering it. Okay, so we're gonna go back into Daz now, and I'm also going to render this same scene with my 18-core CPU. So what we're going to do now is we're going to render this with one. Oh, we have to open the scene. I'm not going to forget that again. Open the same exact scene up. And all the render settings should be remembered because that's the way Daz is. It remembers this render settings. So we're going to render this with one GPU first, and then we will render it, it looks about the same, with two GPUs. So let's give it a moment for this to reticulate. And that's my word. Nobody else uses that. That's my word. I made it up. I use it. And I don't know what it really means, but it sounds professional. And what that means to me is get rid of all the dots. So, all right. So that's enough. And now let's hit render. Let's do this test. Why didn't it render? Well, I kind of slipped off the render thing. Okay. So here we go. This is the moment we're all waiting for. Okay, we're going to pay attention to this. They should be, I believe an iteration is an iteration. So, I mean, what could throw this whole thing off is if iterations are not actually iterations, where, well, not every iteration is equal, where, but I don't think so, because the way this looks, we're at about 1,000, and it looks like the others did. So there's no real massive difference here with this. And I picked something that has something and kind of an atmosphere in here that this is not a simple scene. And look at all the lighting and a ton of lighting and all kinds of stuff. So we're we're almost halfway there. We're at 1 minute and 15 seconds. Let me see if I can quickly open up my my desktop. And this is the where is it? Render times. Give me this. Okay. Now let's close that down. Where are we at now? 2,300. Okay, I've got my 2 GPUs with no NVLink, so we need 1 GPU. 1 X GPU. PU. No NVLink. Copy. Okay, 3.8. Okay, with no NVLink. All right, we're at 2 minutes and 12 seconds, 2 minutes and 14 seconds, 2 minutes and 19 seconds, 2 minutes and 23, 24, 25, 27, 29, 31, 33. 2 minutes and 33 seconds. So we've got 2 minutes, which is basically 2 minutes and 34 seconds, but we'll say 2 minutes and... So there, for 1 GPU, having the link on didn't do anything for 1 GPU. Now the big test is when we turn this other GPU on. Is this going to be... Will they both work together? Because, I mean, we'll know. I mean, Windows may not detect them, and Windows may not tell us the other one's working. But if we get a result of 1 minute and 23 seconds for 2G, then it, however it's doing it, they are both rendering together. Okay? So here we go. Now we're going to hit render. This is the moment of truth. Will we get a minute? And if we do get a minute and 23 seconds, then your answer is yes. If you get another 3060, you will double your render. You will half your render time. You will double your render speed. So let's see. Now we are up to almost halfway, and we're at 42 seconds, which it looks like a minute and 23 seconds. Yeah, it looks like there's 50 seconds. All right, maybe, let's see, we got to get to 1 minute 28. Okay, so it looks like we're going to do it. When we get to 23 seconds, that's going to be, it might even be faster with the NVLink off. A minute and 15 seconds, a minute and 17, 19, 20, 23. And that's so okay, you have your answer here. That if you get a second 3060, you will half your render time. You just add that. It will show right up here in Daz. You click them both, and your render time will be cut in half. Okay, and I would take that to the bank, because there is no NVLink on this card right now at all, and we have the exact same times. And I was thorough to even test this and restart with SLI off just to make sure that it got seated in, and we came up with the exact same. So we can say that NVLink, if you buy two 3090s, don't buy NVLink, okay? Unless you plan on pooling your memory. NVLink does not. Now, let's let's talk about a little bit about something, because before I go into the next test, what I'm going to do in that next is put the NVLink back on, put SLI back on, and then I'm going to try and pool the memory together. Okay, I'm going to do what's called pooling. Is what you do is you put a number 2 right here. Okay, and what that does is it's supposed to pool the memory together. Does that increase the speed of the render? Will we get a different render time, okay, when we pool the memory, so that theoretically Daz is seeing, instead of 24 gigs from the 3090, it's seeing 48 gigs, okay? But what I would like to do now is just talk semantics and see, and what I would like is anybody who knows the truth about this, please write about it in the comments, okay? Because by me talking about this, I am, it's one thing to just test things and say that's the result that my computer got, but it's another thing for me to speak conjecture and to hypothesize about what I think, okay? But to me, there's 2 possibilities, because what we saw was that one graphics card was working like crazy and the other graphics card wasn't. Why? Okay? Now, in NVLink, what happened is Daz sent the scene when NVLink was on in SLI. Daz sent the scene to both graphics cards, so it filled both. It just fed it out and split it off, and fed the exact same scene to both graphics cards, and both graphics cards rendered together. Okay, but when we turned the NVLink off and SLI off, they still rendered together, but Windows told us only one graphics card was functioning, and the other graphics card, one of them was at 100% and the other one was at 1% and 2% and everything. Okay, so what I think could be happening, where there's that one case where both graphics cards were given the entire scene, and then there's the other case where possibly that one graphics card was just helping the other graphics cards with its CUDA cores. That it didn't actually have the scene loaded in it. It was just allowing the other card to use its CUDA cores for the render. So that's my hypothesis. That's why that's why Windows said it wasn't really working, because its memory didn't get filled with the scene. And so theoretically, if that's the case, why make the card work and fill its memory with the scene when all you need to use is its CUDA cores? So why put it in NVLink if you're going to get the exact same time by just borrowing the CUDA cores? Now, that I might be wrong. Somebody might but just say, well, Windows just doesn't register, but it's actually filling the scene into, and I'm sure somebody's going to come in and say that, but I have no verification of that, because Windows didn't tell me there was any activity on that other card. Okay, so I have no proof. I would like to see the proof in the pudding, so to speak. So that's just what makes me think that when it's in NVLink and in SLI, that and they have to be in NVLink and with SLI on, that it's actually feeding the scene into the RAM of both, into the video RAM memory of both cards. But when you turn the SLI off or you take the bridge off, one card says it's not working. And I believe that it's just letting the other card use its CUDA cores. And but since it has, you know, so many CUDA cores, you get the exact same result regardless in your final render. Okay, now I'd like to know if I'm wrong or right. That's so I've just made that up in my head, and that's what I kind of think. And if I'm wrong, I'd rather know than just go on thinking something like that. And so if I'm wrong, what that means is that when you take the NVLink off, Windows becomes really dumb and stupid and doesn't know that the other card is working like crazy. Okay? And I guess that's a scenario as well. So, you know, but to me, it makes me think Windows is saying this card isn't using its memory, and so Windows thinks the card isn't working, but the card is actually working because its CUDA cores are being borrowed by the other card because they're both the same brand. And I will say that, Pat, that you want to make sure you get the exact same brand of 3060. I wouldn't take a chance by not buying the exact same manufacturer's brand of the 3060. And you know, someone might say, well, you can use a blah blah blah. Well, I can't guarantee. You just want to make sure that when you purchase this that it works. So in order to guarantee that, you might want to get the exact same brand. And okay, so now and I wouldn't get like the 3060 Ti or whatever and try to mix that with it. So now I'm going to close this down, and I'm going to close down this scene. Would you like to save it? No. All right. And I'm going to put the NVLink bridge back on. So what I'm going to do now is turn off my computer, shut down, and we're going to test now the SLI. I'm going to put it back into, I'm going to put the bridge back on, and then I'm going to put in the control panel. All right, I don't know if my mic, it says my mic is still working, but I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Oh, I had the nicest thing happen to me today. I was on the city bus, and I got up from the bus and went over to the door to leave. The bus driver opened the door so I could get out, and somebody tapped me on my shoulder and handed me my wallet. My wallet fell out of my pants when I got up off this bus. A black guy Very, very nice. Kind of like one of the, wasn't a skinny kind of black guy. It was like a nice, like, big kind of teddy bear kind of black guy. Very nice kind of smile with that wide kind of face, and beautiful, beautiful man. Just tapped me on. I wanted to hug him and just, and after I left, I thought, why didn't you just give him all your credit cards and say, go and have some fun. Thank you. You saved my life. So, yeah. So it was, he had such a nice smile on his face. Just a really nice smile. But I was at the mall, and this other black guy walked up to me and asked me if I had $1 so he could take the bus. And I gave him $1, and that black man who gave me my wallet, he saw me give him the $1. And I just did it because, you know, I'm a good-hearted person, but I think that guy thought it was nice that I gave that other black guy $1, and so he had just this radiant smile on his face. Just the black guy that gave me my wallet. Just he was. There are so many nice, you know, people that live in my city. They make up for the few but really bad people. The nice people just erase those bad people out. Those bad people run around and they're killing each other and they're doing all this stuff, but the nice people just make life so beautiful. So what we have to do now that the NVIDIA is now linked back up, so we go back, the NVLink. Okay, let me speak with my brain engaged. Okay, so, but SLI is turned off. So when I click this to turn it back on, we click apply. It says SLI enabled, but it's not actually, not until we click this. Now it tells me it wants me to turn off these three things. It wants me to turn off OneDrive, quit OneDrive. Yes, we'll quit it for now. And quit Splice. I don't know why, of all the things that are running, that these are the things that must be turned off. But I'm not going to complain with them. It's probably because they use a certain kind of programming language. So we're going to, there it is, the Acrobat Notification Manager. We turn that off. Okay, and now it's going to allow me to enable SLI again. I'm doing this on my computer so you don't have to do it on yours. Okay, so you can use this information to make decisions about your computer. All right. So you don't have to pull your hair out and wonder like I've been doing and sit and go, "Oh my God, what's up with this? How does this work? How does Daz work?" Now the thing is that I'm going to make a disclaimer and say this is how Daz works with these cards as of 2/1/2023. Now Daz could come out with a modified version that under the hood does so much more and change these numbers at some point. They could modify the program and streamline it and make better use of the graphics card. I think they're pretty good at Daz at doing this, but I am going to show you that right now the next part of this test is to show you that Daz is actually broken right now, okay? And so we're going to try and get them to fix this, okay? So now SLI is on, okay? When you see this disable SLI, then that means it's on, okay? And it says the physics processor, that one says auto select recommended. Oh, I'm going to let them recommend it. They'll recommend which processor will use the physics engine. Now I'm going to open Daz Studio. And we're going to load our scene back in. And we have a couple more tests. I might as well open up because we're going to need to add some more to our... Now these would just go, this is one GPU. Okay, and this is two GPUs. They look exactly the same. Okay, so this is two GPUs. Yeah, these, so that the image quality after 4,000 iterations are exactly the same. The only difference is the amount of time it took to get to there. So we have now our notepad thing open. And so we go back to here. We have both of our, we're now going to be working with pooled memory. So there won't be a single render test of one card because we're trying to see how Daz Studio pools memory. Okay, now we're going to go open our test scene. Would you like to save changes? No. Now the thing about pooled memory is that pooled memory is for when you have a scene like these. Each graphics card has 24 gigabytes of video RAM, of video memory. So each card has 24 gigs. And when you put the NVLink on and you put it into SLI mode, it should, and it makes it enables the ability for some programs that are smart enough to pool that memory together, and as if instead of two graphics cards, you just have one big gigantic graphics card. The thing is that if I have a scene that's, say, 23 gigs, then Daz will just put that 23 gig scene in both graphics cards. But if I have a scene that is 25 gigs, that's 1 gig more than each graphics card, because each graphics cards are only 24 gigs. So if I have a 25 gig scene, then Daz should look at the cards and say, "Oh, these cards only have 24 gigs, so because of that, I'm not going to put it in both cards so that they both render at the same time at double the speed. I'm going to put some of the scene in one card and some of the scene in the other card." So theoretically, then both cards aren't going to be rendering at double the speed, because they don't each have the whole scene in them, and they're not dedicated to rendering frame by frame by frame as fast as they possibly can. So the purpose of the card is in order to not just only pool the memory together, but pool the computing power of the cards. So theoretically, you wouldn't get that double speed. You may not get that double speed. There's still, both cards have double the CUDA cores. So I am not really sure exactly what to make of this whole idea, but it still would be faster than one card. So, but the thing is that because it can handle a larger scene, it doesn't kick it off, because if you don't have it pooled and in NVLink mode, if you don't have that bridge on there, if you go over 24 gigs, the graphics card Windows will say, oh, and the rendering engine, the Iray rendering engine will say, I can't render to these graphics cards because they can't hold the scene and their memory isn't pooled, so I'm going to send this instead to Windows to render. And when Windows renders it, it's going to be about 10% of the speed of the graphics card. So it will take 10 or maybe more longer, 10 times, maybe 20 times, maybe even, 90 times more. Yeah, 90 times more time to render it than the graphics card. So, because the graphics card works on graphics and the CPU works on other things. The CPU is much faster than the graphics card, but the graphics card is made to kind of cheat the CPU and do these floating point things, the operations. So it's kind of complicated pooling the memory. So how do we pool the memory? Well, what we do is we put a number 2 here. It's that simple. We make sure the card is in SLI mode, and then we make sure it's in SLI mode and that the bridge is on, and it won't allow you to put it in SLI mode unless the bridge is on. So we put a number 2 here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this just to make sure that it's seated in there properly. So I'm going to close this scene. Just say no, I don't need to save it, but we're just going to give it a moment and wait until Daz has emptied, and I think it's gone. Yes, it is. So we can open Daz now. I just want to make sure that we give it a chance to now see. We've got the peer link now at 2 again. So we're going to open the test scene. We have and now you can see this is 2x GPU, and this is going, I was going to do this. I don't think it will allow you to do a memory pool without NVLink on. So I should have probably looked. So with 2 GPU NVLink with, that's what we're doing, with NVLink and SLI, and this is memory pool peer group size 2, because we have 2 graphics cards. So we're going to save this, and now we're going to do a test. And this is where all hell breaks loose, okay? Because if you look at this scene, something's wrong here already. What's this line here? And what's this line here? And something is wrong. There's something, this shadow under here doesn't look quite right. So something is gone kaput, okay? This is not the way this scene is supposed to look. Now, if I click render, let's go to render. This is going to tell us, be very interesting how this works, because this is trying to pool the memory, okay? It is pooling the memory. Now look, we have a really weird line here. There's something here. This doesn't look right. This just doesn't look right at all. This scene does not look like it's supposed to look. We're up to 1,000 in 34 seconds. Okay, so this is going to be very revealing about something. This is not going into... This is not going, okay, 2790, 30. Okay, we got to get our numbers. 1 minute and 7 seconds, 1 minute and 9, 1 minute 11 seconds, 1 minute and 12 seconds, 1 minute and 15, 17, 1 minute and 17 seconds. That was very fast. Equals 1 minute. Now that 1 minute and 17 seconds, that is the fastest time yet. Okay? But the image that we got, let's now just put this here. I don't think I can have parentheses in here. We have to take this off, these out. We're going to save this because I'm going to show you that this didn't render right. Something is corrupted in the scene. I can tell. What is that square there? You see, what are these lines up here? And what's that line? And what, I don't remember seeing all those kind of distortions. What's up with this shadow here? And what's that? And this line here. Okay? Something's wrong here with this scene. These lines up here. Okay, so we're going to save this into our render times folder. Save. And then when we go into our render times folders and compare these images, we have this one. Okay, notice how smooth this is. There is that line here. And there's that line, but there was a line across here, and there were lines in here. They're not supposed to be here. Okay, none of these renders did that. Now we go here with this, and look at this. See, this is just wrong. So it's broken. Okay, it's not supposed to do that. There's a line across here, okay, and a line down here. And see, it's just broken. And these lines across the top, let's see, let's go here. See on the ceiling? There's no lines across the ceiling. See that? So this is broken. There's no line across here. So this doesn't work. But we got a really nice... And then I'm going to tell you something else, okay? That this didn't break it, you know, maybe it did. Maybe that's the problem, but this, it usually only pulls the memory together if it looks and says, oh, this scene is too big to fit in alone in each graphics card, so if it's 25 gigs and each graphics card only holds 24, then it will split it up. But if it's enough to put the whole scene in both graphics cards and fit them in, it will. So why did it go faster? Well, I would say because something got corrupted, and so when it got corrupted, it no longer had to figure out shadows properly. It no longer had to figure out reflections properly. It no longer had to do harder work because things were broken. And so it's like when I can't think of an example of just when you have to do a certain process and all of a sudden one of the things is to go into the other room and get something, but there's a lock on that door, so you just have to leave that part out, and so you don't end up going into the other room and grabbing the flour and grabbing things because you can't get into the room. And so you just continue and finish and do the rest of the stuff, and in the end, when you go to taste the bread, well, it doesn't taste like bread because you didn't get any flour for it. And so that's why it's quicker, okay, because it just didn't render properly. And this is not just on my computer that this is happening. A friend of mine has a computer, and he showed me renders that and they had the same exact problem with textures. So this part is broken. So and it will and I assume it will get fixed now. I don't know where it's broken. It could be broken in Windows. Okay? There could be the latest update of Windows could have broken it. Okay? It could be broken with NVIDIA, the people who make Iray. Okay? The latest update that was just a week ago or so. They put out a new driver. Now, if I go back and load the NVIDIA driver from, say, 2000 and 2022 towards like maybe September or something, maybe it worked back then. Or it could be Daz. It could be something in Daz. I'd like to think it's not Daz because it did work, and Daz, I don't think it's when when NVIDIA changes their driver, they change it a lot because they're constantly adding gamer stuff, and they redo the whole things. And I don't think Daz has had a real big reason to change this memory pooling part because it seemed to work. So something has broken it, okay? These lines up here and this is just broken. And it's actually, the render is actually worse than this. So, than the Iray. So the render is even worse. So we're not going to do a single core render because this is all about rendering. Now, if I take this 2 off, okay, then we go back to rendering without the memory pool. And so I can go out of here, go to texture shaded mode. Okay, and then we go back to Iray, and the problem in the ceiling and the line across here they're gone. Because I thought I took that out. That's supposed to be a 0. Okay, so now we can go, and as you can see, there's no line in the ceiling. There's no lines in the floor. The line that was running across there is gone. Well, it does. It is. There is still some kind of line here, but when we render it will be gone. I think there's an atmosphere in here. If you look in this scene here, I think it will say something about somewhere in here there may be an actual atmosphere. Center lights, railing, platform. It would be probably this back wall. No, it would be in the stage lights, base. Register, I don't know. Somewhere in here maybe there is an atmosphere. I don't know that it's a VDB, but... So, all right. That is going to do it for this video. When will this get fixed? Hopefully very soon. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to turn these off. And we're going to just put the CPU on. And we're just going to see how long it takes. Is the CPU 70%, like I said, slower than the graphics card? Let's find out. Okay, so we just only have the CPU selected. Let's do it. The CPU is probably a more superior rendering engine than Iray, but it's slower. And I do have now 18 cores. It's probably going to make a fool of me because I do now have 18 cores. It's not going to be as fast as the... So we're at 32 seconds now, and we need to go through 4,000 iterations. 58, and let's see now. 68, so it's going slow, okay? But the thing is that the CPU is not limited by the file size, where the GPU can only render as big a file as 24 gigs. If it's 25 gigs, the GPU says, But the CPU can render up as well as high as the RAM, close to. I'm not sure exactly if it's exact, but I have a 128 gigs worth of RAM in this computer. So theoretically, the GPU, so the GPU has 24 gigs. My system has 128. So I could render a very large scene. So we're at 1 minute and 48 seconds, and we're only at 193. Now remember that when we had the two graphics cards rendering together, they were done by now. They had done 4,000 iterations, and my CPU is not shabby. It's got 18 3 megahertz each cores. That's 36 threads, and we're only at 285, and now we're at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. That's when the one GPU core was done. Okay, and we're only at 314, and it's sitting there saying, just what was I doing again? Just a minute. I'll be done in a minute. So now we're at 346. So technically, it might take, in order to get to 4,000 iterations, it might take about 30 minutes. So I told you that the CPU was 90% slower. And yeah, it is. 419 now, and we're at 3 minutes, okay? So yeah, this should give you some insight. I think Pat ran off. Pat ran off to go and buy a 3060 graphics card. I have sold a graphics card to somebody. I convinced them that they could go out and buy that graphics card and double their speed or half their render time. And Pat, it will. Okay, it will half your render time. I can guarantee you it will half your render time. So happy rendering, Pat. Thank you for coming in. And yeah, I love the people on YouTube. They want to learn. There's so many. They're eager to learn. They just really, I don't know. They make me feel so good to help them and to interact with them. And so we're at 500 now. We're at 558. We only have 3,500 left. And we've been 5 minutes. So if you figure that's 500, so that would be 5 minutes times another 5 minutes. So yeah, we're looking, in order for this to get done, we're looking at this is going to take 30 minutes to render with the CPU. And the CPU is faster than the graphics card. The CPU is more powerful than the graphics card, okay? But not doing this, okay? It's like having a muscle man who can, lift 500 pounds, but was never taught how to swim. Okay? And so you throw him in water and he just drowns. Okay? But then you have this little guy who can't even lift 20 pounds, but he can swim like a fish. So that's kind of the way. So the CPU is much more powerful than the graphics card, but the graphics card is kind of like a one-tune pony. It knows how to do one thing: swim, and that's it. And so we're about ready to reach 800 iterations. So okay. That's going to do it for me. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you know how to fix this problem with the memory pooling in Daz, please leave a note down in the comments. And let me know. And if you're that black guy who gave me my wallet back on the bus, contact me. I had to get off the bus real quick because they had more stops to make. I couldn't just do this kind of stop the world and thank this guy kind of moment. So thank you for saving my wallet and giving it back to me, and it's a very sobering moment to think that how nice that was of him. He darted. He didn't even hesitate. He didn't even think. He got up immediately and grabbed that wallet and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Here, this is yours." So didn't even flinch. That, I mean, it's like that's the kind of person that you know, they're just really amazing. Now, see, I ran out of time. I had a time limit set. I ran out of time before it reached the 4,000 iterations. So, okay, I hope this has been helpful. I hope this cleared up. So let me just surmise and say, if you have a graphics card in your computer and you have another PCI Express slot in your computer, then you will get some gain by putting another graphics card in there. The only thing is that your CPU has a thing called lanes, okay? And a like an i7, they don't have a lot of lanes. And maybe some of the later newer i7s do, but some of the older i7s. So you may not get double. Let's look at this, okay? Because what's our math here? Let's say, so all right, so 2 minutes and 34 seconds, 1 minute and 23 seconds. So it's almost half. Okay, this is 1 minute and 23 seconds, and that's 34. It's not quite half, but it's close to half. Okay, so that tells me that maybe one of my graphics cards, I have 48 lanes, so one of them may be just not quite as fast as the other one. It could be a little bit hotter because one's sitting on top of the other, and the hotter one may be running a little slower. This is but I'm getting half. Now, if you don't have as many lanes, okay, that can cut, like, your second graphics card may only get 8 lanes instead of 16 lanes. That may still be enough to run it at full speed. I don't know. But I'm sure that if you grab that graphics card and you get, say, where your second graphics card is maybe half as fast, so you get 1/3, maybe 1/3 of a speed increase, that would still be really nice. So your things would render much faster, maybe a third faster or a quarter faster, okay? I would say it'd be more than a quarter. So it all depends. So, but even a quarter faster means that instead of waiting 2 hours, you only have to wait an hour and maybe a half. And so that's the kind of thing. So that's it's time saved out of your life. So I would say even if the second card can only run with 8 lanes, I think you might still get the full power out of a 3060. So I think 8, and there's a good chance that your motherboard is one of these newer AMD ones. It may not have this really fast chip in it, but I mean, but it may be for PCI Express 4, and if it is, even if you don't have the lanes PCI Express 4, each lane is like four times something faster than a PCI Express 3 lane. So that would compensate and just instantly give you your card a full boost. You'd get the full double of your power. So I just thought I would bring that up as well. So I would say even if you're at PCI Express 3.0 and you don't have like an i9 chip, but you have like an i7, if you have the power supply to run it, I would go ahead and upgrade. And you know why I say that? Because I did. when I had the PCI Express well, actually, I did have 48 lanes at the time, but yeah, I probably still would have upgraded. I bought two 1080 Ti's. I can't even remember now. Yeah, 1080 Ti. Yeah, two 1080 Ti's I bought. I bought the first one, and then bought a second one and put it in my system. So, and boy, didn't things go fast once I put that second 1080 Ti in. So, but I did have 44 lanes at the time. So even if it only runs at 8 lanes, I would still do it. I would personally still do it. So, okay, very good. I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching. Take care, and I will see you again in the next tutorial, the next EZ3DTV. And my name is RexRed, and I will be back again soon with more Daz stuff. And please like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Leave comments if you have anything. All of this stuff, help me learn. I'm here to try, and if I lay out all of the things and the way I understand them, then that enables you to come in and say, hey, Rex, actually this is how this works, and that's how this works. And this is how I learn. I learn from saying things wrong and having people come in who are smarter than me and can and know more about certain things, and they can enlighten me. So thank you very much. Take care. I will see you again in the next video. Have a great day, evening, morning, night, middle of the night, brunch, late afternoon, whatever time it is in your part of the world. Have a nice one.